do a quick introduction. Well, there we are. We're live, and great to have with me, going from left to right. We've got Mr. Bowen, all the way from Manchester,
Surely.
or near Chorley. Well, it's nearby, okay. And all the way from Berwick. Is that right, George? Yeah, we've got George here from the.
Yep, all the way from Main Road.
From the all right. from the Bandits website, and I must say, what a great job you've done during the winter of keeping everybody informed on the the sort of keeping the interest going, as it were. It's difficult during the close season. Anyway, I want to jump straight in, and we'll kick off with Paul. We were just chatting a little bit off backstage about the Rory Schlein coming out of retirement, but you were saying that you've more or less done the same, although you'd only retired for a year. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I never said I was retiring. I just said
Right.
I wasn't riding anymore.
Right.
Kind of at retirement.
Yep.
But probably like Rory as well, he's been away from it. For me, like I said, with BSN, I watched, quite a few meetings, and it was just like a really big itch. And it just tempted me just to wanting to ride again, have another go. And I thought, yeah, you know what? I'm getting married next year. I reckon I've got another year in me. I'll have another do.
Oh dear! Has she told you you've got to pack it in once the ring's on the finger?
No, but it's an expensive day, so I'm not being. I don't think I'm going to risk hurting myself for for that.
Yeah.
Maybe after I can do
Sure.
some
Sure.
guesting.
Sure. And I suppose it was a no-brainer coming back for the Colts.
Yeah. In fact, it was another team that sent me an offer, actually. Seeing if I was having a ride. And you know what? That kind of sparked it as well. And I thought, before I go to this other team, I'll speak to Bellevue because it's so local.
Yeah.
I've got so many routes there, and I thought, well, I'll just let them know that I'm going to come back, and they was more than happy to say, "Come on, Paul, we'd like you as well." So I thought, yeah, I can't. It's very hard for me to leave Bellevue, especially as it is let's face it, the best track in the country.
Well, yeah. I mean, apart from Berwick, obviously, yeah. I've never been there, so I'll need to wait till I get the chance to see it. But yeah, it is a good track. By the way, belated happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Was that yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yesterday, yeah.
Press and practice. I got a birthday present. I'm going.
Excellent. And
it looks like we've lost George as well.
Yes, there seemed to be a bit of delay anyway, but
yeah,
not to worry. We'll crack on.
Up there.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
All right. So I know you've been busy with this, with the e-bikes.
Yes.
And can you tell us what the sort of latest is on that? Because obviously the plan, I would have thought, looking forward is to get the e-bikes racing as you would a normal bike.
Yeah. So obviously I did the Speedway event with e-racing. Got the guys over from Denmark. They brought a load of bikes over, and that they had. We sort of built some bikes just so we could have some kids to ride them. Kids absolutely loved them. We had a really good weekend. Went really well. A lot of the parents are chuffed. A lot of the kids are chuffed. And it's kind of a new sort of sustainable future that you can see for Speedway, really, to get kids into it and to get them riding. So now I've got an engine myself for the electric. I'm going to Track Plus this Saturday, actually. So get a proper frame made by a British person, and we're gonna build a really good bike. And then I'm going to start doing demos, and more demos, and getting kids used to seeing it, getting them on the bike, and then hopefully within the next sort of few months, maybe we can run a bit of a series, get some of the clubs involved. Obviously, I need people to get the bikes, and hopefully we can sort of kickstart it anytime, really.
Lovely. So we've got George back. Hi, George. Seems to be a delay, doesn't there?
Yeah, maybe need to turn it off and turn it back on again.
Well, he's done that, and he's also done the settings with the echo.
Yeah, we don't have 5G in Berwick. We're not like Chorley.
But George, I was going to
I
ask
think
you,
we've got like 2.5.
right? Yeah. Your thoughts on Paul coming back and riding for the Colts? I must admit, I was of the opinion that
You're going to call me on the settings again, is it?
that Bellevue, excuse me, they had a very young team last year, but could do with somebody a bit more experienced in the ranks. Let him catch up. No,
Yeah, so I think Bellevue
All right.
are a very different looking side this year. Always tend to have been fairly. Oh, it's only 2 years ago that Paul was in the side anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think not a typical looking Bellevue side this year. Maybe one designed to be a little bit more effective away from home than it has been in the past. I don't know what Paul thinks of that.
I think a lot of it was down to rider availability as well. I think obviously with Workington popping up, it
I think a little bit
it,
like Berwick, they tend to have been very dominant at home, but maybe not so good on the road. And with only two qualifying for the playoffs this year, then you've got to be a little bit more effective away from home, haven't you?
Well, Paul, I and George, we seem to be having a bit of trouble with the delay, but I'll get back to you then. So your thoughts on the rest of the team, because is it still quite a young team at the Colts?
Is that to me or is that to George?
Yeah, sorry, to you, Paul. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah. Well, you got young James Pearson, Australian guy.
Yep.
Really nice kid as well, actually. Got a lot of growth there to go. I certainly think he'll be chasing that number one jacket.
Sure.
Come a couple of meetings in. He's already got experience in the championship, so he's going to find the National League. Probably be a nice little confidence booster for him because he's gone from the championship where he was getting beat, but he just chipped away. His no scores went to like 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s. It took him a while to get his first race win, and it reminds me of Leon Flint. He's just chipping away really nicely, and I think coming into the National League, he'll go, and this is all right. This and get a bit more confidence and hopefully take that into the championship. Jack Smith, no introduction. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
Bellevue, just in and out guy. And then you've got Sam Hagan in 3.
Yes.
Probably a lot of weight probably on Sam, really, because he's probably the next sort of heat leader. Has got to be quite strong. He's stepping up. And again, Sam's still very young. Still a lot of growth, and I think this will be his breakthrough year where he gets a 3. Between the rest of us, me, Matt, Luke, and Freddie, it's going to be a little battle. I think we're going to swap numbers left, right, and centre. Freddie again. It was only his first proper season last season, and he's got the same average that I've got. So that kind of tells you that He's not here just to mess about. He's here to have a good go. And watching him ride yesterday at Bellevue, I must say he's another promising Speedway rider that hasn't been riding that long.
Sure, that's Freddie Hodder.
Freddie Hodder, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, I was going to say that last year it was noticeable that Redcar. You mentioned Leon, and he won the under-19. But I think there were 6 of the Bellevue team there riding in the under-19.
Yeah.
So it shows you how young they were, but yeah, it's I don't know you've always got this situation, haven't you, where you've got the team which is, shall I call it, the feeder team to the main team. So like Bellevue, you've got the Colts. the Bandits, you've got the Bullets, but you've got the standalone teams, haven't we? We've got the what have we got? Kent,
Mildenhall, that's it.
that's it, Kent and Mildenhall. And Mildenhall looked pretty strong, didn't they? You know, they seem to have put together a pretty strong
Yeah,
team.
I
You
think,
know,
to be fair, and I don't think there's a weak team this year in the National League. I think last year, um, I predicted the scores for the Speedway Star, and everyone got the wooden spoon team right. Do you know what I mean? It looked from the outset, unfortunately, to Edinburgh, they had a bit of a poor team last year. Um, but looking this year, I wouldn't say, there was
Working.
a couple of times where we would be like on the road, even like on Bellevue, and there'd be some teams you'd look forward to coming to Bellevue because you're thinking it's going to be a nice little payday today. Whereas this year, I think it's going to be really tight, and everyone's going to have to fight for the points this year. And I don't think there's a team that's a pushover. I don't think there's any teams really that have got a really weak rider because the points limit's been upped. What they've kind of done is rather than bringing new people in, they've sort of kept people like myself on like 4 points, rather than having your original 3-pointers. Every team, I think, had to have a 3-pointer at some point, and I don't think there's not enough 3-pointers to feed all 8 clubs or 9 clubs, whatever there is. And B, like I said, there just isn't that rider quality around.
yeah. The trouble for Bellevue though is that when they come to Berwick, we've got a cunning plan. And you know, you mentioned James Pearson.
Yes.
Yeah, when he came to Berwick last year, it was with the Birmingham team.
Oh, it would have been, yeah.
Yeah. And what we did, we put the fun fair up, and the team manager lost him for about half an hour because he was at the fun fair next door. So we're going to do the same this year. He's not going to be at the meeting. He's going to be on the rides. He's a lovely fellow, isn't he, little James? I did meet him at Birmingham on that. You remember that meeting that got cancelled after just 2 races?
Oh yeah.
Was it Josh? Josh Rorty had a really bad crash.
Yeah, I did feel bad for Birmingham then.
Yeah, but he'd actually. I think Klaus had won. Klaus Vissen had won Heat 1, beaten Bomber, and I think James Pearson got. I think he got 3rd place. I think they got a 4-2 and a 4-2, so they are already 8-4 up. Birmingham and James, he did do well there. You know. Anyway, so who obviously apart from Bellevue, who do you see as going to be top of the National League?
I think, to be fair, Berwick have got a very good team actually.
Yeah.
It's hard to say actually. If I was to probably say another team, I'd like to say Berwick actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because they've got quite a strong team that's consistent away, and I think again Berwick's a very home track advantage track.
We hope so, don't we, George? We hope so.
I think there's a lot of home advantage at Berwick because it's a tricky track to learn. You know, I've been there a couple of times now, and each time I go there, I feel like it's my first time. And I think for the riders that especially haven't been there before or a lot are going to struggle.
I remember watching during lockdown a lot of videos. There were plenty of videos. I mean, it's great. You go on YouTube and you can watch meetings from years back. And I remember one where it was Adam McKinnon had done 7 rides at Berwick, and the way he described it was, that's the last thing you want. 7 rides at Berwick. You say it's tricky, but apparently it's quite demanding physically as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. Like I said, it's not a track that you want to get tired around because it's so fast as well.
Yep.
But I wouldn't say it's as bad as the Isle of Wight. That's hard going. But no, yeah, I think any track can be testing. Mildenhall is quite testing. I think, to be fair, there's only like Bellevue really that isn't testing because it's like you know what I mean. It's so smooth around there. It's just it's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. But with your sort of punter's hat on, then take us through the teams that you like the looks of in the championship.
Ooh, championship.
Yeah.
I've probably got to say Edinburgh. To be
Right.
fair,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think Craig Cook's gonna come back to be a man.
Hmm.
Josh Pickering, just seen him ride so many times, and I just think, he's another good box office guy to watch. Paco as well, he's a good rider.
Hmm.
And like I say, reserve wise, you've got Jacob Hook, um, Kyle Bickley on his
Hmm.
day as well. He's another one that can step up and be quite good. A lot of the other teams have got sort of heavy hitters. Um, I don't know. Probably my next one. Probably maybe. Probably Redcar as well. I think they've certainly got five five really strong riders in there as well. Um, yeah. No, I'd say it's between Edinburgh and Redcar for me at the moment.
Right. I mean, there's a certain amount of we don't know what to expect from some of them. Like as you say, Redcar have got a team of, I would say, riders that you kind of know what you're getting with them, don't you? They are consistent riders most of the time, and
Yeah, well, the thing
if
is,
they
you've got Eric Riss and Charles Wright,
yes,
who were both double point scorers at
yes,
Redcar anyway.
mm-hmm,
So it's going to be very hard to win against Redcar at home with them two there at least.
mm-hmm,
Not to mention you got Danny King, obviously won the championship last year.
yeah,
Um, Damien Hume as well.
yeah,
Damien is just coming on and on and on and on and on. He was a really turning point. Was it for Ipswich last year?
yeah,
Like I say again, and another one, Jason Edwards.
mm-hmm,
He's been chipping away. I love these
yeah,
riders that just chip away,
mm-hmm,
and get point scoring all the time.
yeah,
So yeah, and reserve wise, Jake Mulford, he's been going well. Still a young kid. Connor Bailey, exactly the same. So
yeah.
yeah, good.
Is Red Car track almost like a mini Bellevue?
It is actually.
Yeah,
I'd say it is quite similar-ish.
yeah,
Obviously the straight isn't as long, and you
yeah,
do get a bit of a when you come across the ruts. Certainly for me, off four and into one, it kind of off-settles the bike a little bit. But
mm,
you boys like Charles Wright and Danny King and Eric, they just fly over it.
yeah, yeah. I must admit, apart from Berwick, as I was saying to George, we seem to have lost George, unfortunately. But for me, the Berwick team, the one I don't know is how well is Rory going to come back as. If he comes back,
Oh, he'll do all right.
Wolves have
Yeah,
also got him in their team. So if he comes
yeah.
back and does a job for Berwick, fine. But the other team I personally like the looks of, not just because they're the furthest from Berwick that you can get. Plymouth look very strong as well, don't they?
Yeah, I've heard on the grapevine Plymouth are paying very well lately.
Ah,
So they've got some good riders. Um, It'd be interesting again to see how Dan Giltz gets on coming
mm,
from injury. He was a rider that was showing some real promise when he was coming in. I do worry, not to cause any offence to him, but I do worry for young Ben Trigger. I
yeah,
don't think he's ready for it yet. Um, Personally, nice kid. You know what I mean. Fair enough. Have a crack at it, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see him. I know how Gary May works, and he'll be doing 3 rides.
yeah, yeah. It's well, again, it's Plymouth's one of those tracks, though, isn't it? It's they also enjoy a bit of a home track advantage. I mean, I remember seeing thinking Ben Barker flying around And I mean, he's just it's just like he's just trying to go as fast as he possibly can. Even if he's in front, it doesn't matter. He just wants to get faster and faster.
Benny's not scared down there. And like I said, Plymouth's a great little track. It just shows it doesn't have to be a big track to be a good track.
Yeah.
I do think Ben Barker and Kyle Haworth is going to be quite the one to watch down there, because them, them two together, they are very much elbows up riders. So I certainly want to be racing the heats that they are in, because I think they both will bully you out.
Sure. And of course, the other one that's also a lot of people seem to fancy, I would say, is Scunthorpe. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, yeah, Ryan, very good. Jake Allen, yeah, Michael, Simon Lambert, again, a home track specialist. Zane Kennedy was doing very well before his nasty accident. Mm-hmm. In fact, he just started to come to, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, yeah, not a bad team. Not a bad team.
So I'm going to just quickly pop up the so that I've got a good note of who's actually in what. Just bear with me one moment. I'm kind of laughing to myself, because you've said obviously the Monarchs, where of course in this neck of the woods, our two local rivals really are Glasgow and Edinburgh, and they absolutely love one another, Glasgow and Edinburgh, and Glasgow I would say have got the reserve pairing that I was kind of hoping that Berwick were going to have this year, Ace and Lee Complin. I thought that would be a pretty good shape for us, but it turns out that Glasgow have got them. And
I did think Ace would be at Berwick, being that he's got strong roots there.
Yeah,
I don't know who he's owned by.
I don't know either.
But I would, like I say, I would have thought having the time at Berwick. Spending all that, especially with the National League, spending all that time there, whether that had been a better move for him. But as we all know, Glasgow, another high-profile club. Fair enough. It is apparently a good club to go and ride for. So.
Well, yeah. Obviously. One of the sort of things is, it's I don't know. I would never want to speculate on the cost and stuff, but again, you hear through the grapevine that certain clubs pay, a considerable amount more. If they've got the funds, that's great. Some of them, they go a little bit over budget. But yeah,
like Glasgow fall into that category. But maybe that's why they're charging 15 quid for kids, which is the latest thing. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, typically in the in the championship, it's around about the £20, isn't it? 18, £20,
and then free for kids. But I think they decided that.
Well, I think it's certainly free for, is it 5 and under and stuff like that, or if and also some of the clubs, I think Berwick do it as well. If you bring your kid along, and he's older than that, but if it comes with an adult, you get them in at like a pound
price.
Or something.
Yeah, like a certain price. So bit of a, but if they've done the research and they can get that, fair enough. It's still, even at £15 for 2 hours, it's still value for money. I know it's expensive for a family or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's still, do you know what I mean? You've got to remember wage. Like, everyone sees Speedway as a £10 sport.
Yeah.
I mean, minimum wage is going up to £10.50 an hour, so it can't be £10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Money's changed.
Yeah, I suppose it's. I'll give you an example. Obviously we lost Newcastle last year,
Hmm.
But for less than 20 quid, you could go to the Greyhounds. You could get in at the Greyhounds. You could get a program. You could get you could get food. You could get a drink for £18.
Yeah. But then
And
again,
that's
a dog doesn't cost as much as a bike to run, though, does it?
exactly yeah, exactly. And nobody begrudges the obviously the riders. It would just be great. And I'm sure you would agree with me if we could just get more punters there. So that then
Yeah. Oh
you
no, it
know
would. It would. But then,
you
like I
know
say, you look at football. Football's very similar prices. They struggle sometimes.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then that's the same. It's just a different world we live in now.
Hmm.
But that's where, like as sad as it sounds, where your streaming comes involved, because people
Mm.
would rather stay at home, have a beer out the fridge, and sit there and watch it. It's just different now. There'll always be live sport and there'll always be meetings to go to, but I think people just need to adjust that how people are is different now, and they'd probably rather
Mm.
sit at home and watch it.
Sure. George is doing his damnedest to try and get on, so I'm going to keep adding in him, but it just seems that we keep losing him straight
Losing him.
away. George, can you hear us?
Nope, that's a lot. And
No.
he does the website for Berwick.
That's right, and does all the
Oh God.
he does
Go
all the
then,
all the,
George.
no, he does the sort of keeping everybody up to date and blogs and stuff, along with Dick Barry and a certain James Black,
Yeah,
i.e. Mythman, and yeah.
he doesn't do any of the back end of the website then.
I think, from what I gather, Jamie is quite into the sort of internet stuff, the high tech
Yeah.
stuff. So anyway, obviously in the championship you got Berwick, then you got Birmingham. They, again, they don't look too bad either, do they?
No,
With
they've
Nick
got
Martin
back
in
Ty
there,
Proctor as well.
that was an interesting one, I must admit.
Yeah, I like Ty.
Yep,
Nice guy, nice Aussie guy, and again, he
yep,
can ride a bike. He can
yeah,
ride a bike. They could. Everyone in that team can ride a bike. Actually,
yep.
um, don't other than Justin, don't think you've got like another solid five in there.
Well, you've got James Wright, who I must admit,
Yeah, with
he,
second string, I would say.
I've seen him at Berwick, and he's okay. It's
Yeah,
it's it's Charles is the higher average guy, but he looks like his brother, doesn't he? And at times he was doing very well at Berwick. Justin Stefan Nielsen, Nick Morris, Alfie Botel. How's he going to go this year? Because he's one that was sort of tearing things up, wasn't he, in the development league?
yeah, he was. Yeah,
Again, we don't know quite how he's going to do in the big league. You've already Edinburgh, Glasgow, Oxford. My thoughts on Oxford. I mean, you've got Sam Masters, Louis Kerr, Scott Nichols, Jordan Jenkins, Cameron Heaps, Henry Atkins, Luke Killeen.
yeah. No, Sam again.
Yeah,
He's a big number one, isn't he?
yeah,
It's like I say, for him it'll be quite odd because he was an Edinburgh man through and through,
yeah.
and now he's changed. Obviously, quite gone to a new. Oxford's still a relatively new track. To be fair, I give like Jason Crunt some stick on the BSN, saying you know what I mean is you've not won so many matches and stuff like that, and he basically explained to us that obviously the track's so new
Yeah,
that even the home riders are struggling to get the correct setup. And he was right in what he was saying because towards the end of the season, they did pick up momentum
hmm
and did a lot better. I don't think Troy Batch is back this year, is he?
certainly not with Plymouth. No, I must admit, he's one of those ones I personally would have liked to have seen at Berwick, but that's because I'm as well as a Bandits fan. Back in I've also a soft spot for Swindon because I'm originally from Cheltenham. So at one time I used to go the 20 miles, 25 miles to Swindon, and Troy was really good round Swindon. We've discussed Plymouth. Poole. Now, Poole, wooden spoon for them, hopefully.
Nah,
No,
nah,
oh, damn.
nah. They're too clever for that. They did have some unfortunate luck
Yep.
at the start, obviously already, and again they've gone for sort of well, it was going to be Carl Newman and Adam Royan at reserve,
Yeah.
but with Anders Rowe in there now, I don't know which one they fall under with the averages. So
Yeah.
they have losing Jack Thomas. Personally, they have lost a point or so there, really. And again, it just shows that they're struggling for riders. There's only a few to choose from.
Yeah.
But Anders Rowe can ride well. He can do a good job. The Cook brothers again. It's the second year. They're over here now. I think they'll do a bit good. Is it Ben Cook that's
It is, yeah. You've got Steve Roll, Ben Cook, Zach Cook, Richard Lawson, who's obviously good quality, as you say, Kyle Newman, Adam Moynihan, and Anders Rowe. But he was at Leicester last year, wasn't he? And there was some strange, sort of situation there, wasn't there, where he felt that like he wasn't part of the team or something, or do you remember what was the problem there? It was,
I think that's just Anders. Do you know what I mean? I think maybe he'd spat his dummy out a little bit and not gelled with the track or the team, and sometimes it happens again. Like, nice kid, nothing against him, but maybe just something wasn't clicking for him.
Yeah, it's. I mean, young British rider, you want them to do well. The only trouble with double last year. Do you know how many times they won at Berwick?
What's that? Sorry, Paul, you broke up.
How many times Poole Pirates have won at Berwick?
Oh, I was trying to say when I come there.
What's less than one?
Really? They've never won. They've never won.
They got a draw last season. They have never won at Berwick. They got a draw last season, but they've never won at Berwick. Wow. Yeah, we are their bogey team. Back in '89, when we won the cup, that was for me our greatest team. We did the double over them.
Really?
Although they were the league champions, they tore the league up. But we beat them on the track.
It's funny how Poole are kind of like the Manchester United. Like people have got this, it's Poole. Like they put in different teams every year. They don't do anything different. But obviously they must. I don't know what he does. What's his name? Neil.
Oh, Middleditch. Yeah, Neil.
I don't know what he does, but he must do something well because he's had quite a few successes. So. You know, I mean, I don't think he's ever.
I was going to say, I mean, no, absolutely not. And I mean, what kind of difference can a team manager make?
I think he can probably make a big difference. To be fair, I say he must do because he's had riders from different clubs and brought them together and won the league, which you know what I mean. So he must. I don't know. It does make a difference how a manager is with you sometimes. You know, especially when I was hopping around in National League at the very start. I was, you know, the 3-point hoe bag, just going from club to club when people needed a 3-pointer, and there were some teams there that I just probably wouldn't want to ride for.
Yeah. Was that sometimes a personality thing with the people there?
Yeah. Any names, Cradley. So nothing against Will. That's nothing against Will. Like I say, you know, it was there was a team manager there. I can't even remember his name, and he was. It was just a bit rude to me, really, and I just thought, I'm not your employee. You can piss off.
Yeah,
But, so yeah, it was. But yeah, that and then someone's like, say you get, like the Colts, Stephen Graham. Do you know what I mean? Encouraging every time.
yeah.
But then sometimes they will give you that bit of a, it's knowing how to play someone. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes you have got to come on. You know what I mean? You got to get them riled up as well. So maybe Middleton is just good at that.
Yeah, a very interesting Saturday night at the Black and Gold. Was it the 4th of February? It was. Yeah, I think 4th of March. No, when was it? Anyway, it was a night out with the boys from the chat, and Jamie and Scott came along and had a chat. And what really impressed me was, although obviously promoting Berwick and Oxford, it was that kind of steely determination that, sometimes it would be nice if the rider went out and actually won from the gate. Just make it easy and just win for us, will you? Just go out and do the business without any dramas and without having to go around the board, sort of thing, and just do it. And it did impress me, the sort of as I say, determination to try and, oh, for goodness sake, Lena, come on, go on. Sorry, that's my wee puppy, and she's just been let out the car. Anyway, yeah, can we move on to, because I think we've covered all the Redcar, Scunthorpe. Yeah, I like the looks of Scunthorpe as well, but moving on to the Premiership. And you've got Emil Saifutinov back.
That's a fantastic move in my eyes.
Yeah, Dan Bewley.
You got some real. What they've done is sort of they've elevated. With the problem we've had previously is the Championship being very close to the Premiership.
I remember your video about what was wrong with the two leagues, just so close together.
Yeah, which is still a problem. But what they've done, rather than my chart of reducing sort of the bottom half, they've elevated the top.
Yeah.
Which
is
fine.
grand.
Yeah, which is grand. And that's the way it needs. You know what I mean? That they could go that other way if they wouldn't, and have all them heavy hitters. If you could get every GP star in there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? In the team, that'd be 20 riders to go around 7 clubs, would be phenomenal. But we're just not going to get that. But they have got some really good GP or ex-GP riders in the Premiership, which is good to see. And obviously for me being a big fan of Nicky Pedersen coming back, that's I will be a little fanboy on BSM when I do Peterborough.
Oh, you like Nicky Pedersen, do you?
Oh, love.
It's never dull when he's racing, is it?
No, you know what I mean, and it just shows he's missed. Really, he's he's the villain, as what people might call him, but there's no one like Nicky.
Well, I mean, I got to say, for me, it's great to see Dan Bewley back. I thoroughly enjoyed, obviously last year, Robert Lambert coming back to Bellevue at the end of the season, and it's okay. It was a shame for Sheffield. They also were. I remember there was a little bit sort of even more sort of Lancashire Yorkshire rivalry, wasn't there? Roses rivalry because of
the Roses rivalry,
and a bit of angst, that they brought Robert Lambert back, and there were suggestions that it was underhand, and he's coming on too low a point and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. If if it's in your favour, you're for it. But if it's against you, then you're
Yeah.
against it, aren't you?
Yeah, there was a bit of that. There was a bit of that, but I was happy to have him back.
I bet you were. I mean, I just thought he was absolutely brilliant round Bellevue. I mean, that's the sort of speed he was generating. I mean, I don't think he got beat in was it 3 meetings or something?
Yeah, he was undefeated for 3 meetings.
Yeah.
And again, it's just a shame that he couldn't come back. But then at the same time, he got that much stake. If I was him, I don't think I'd come back either. Because I mean, I think fans need to realise, it does hurt when people call you.
Yeah, I really don't get that. It's I mean, I suppose one rider that I still have a bad memory of is the coordinator at the Grand Prix, and he's a guy that talks to the riders. And now he's been given some top job in Speedway. Phil Morris. I just remember it as a rider as being. He seemed to, when he ran out as a rider, he seemed to develop horns, shall we say, and as I suppose I remember mainly riding for. I can't really remember him riding for Newport, but I believe he did. But I just remember in particular riding for Reading and thinking, oh, that guy's bonkers. But anyway, he's got this top job now, and
Yeah.
I'm yeah. So I was going to say, what do you think of?
I think it's reading the article in the Star.
Yeah.
I think he could potentially do quite well for the Premiership. I particularly liked how he was saying, how does it look for someone else looking in, which is a great business strategy, and that's how it needs to be treated. Speedway as a business, and looking in from a consumer's view. And he's right. When they cut to the pits, you've got, a few old boys knocking around. You've got Geezer there in his t-shirt and jeans, and you've got someone else. Do you know what I mean? It looks like it looks just like traditional speedway for me and you.
Yes. Yeah.
But to a fan, it looks far from BSB paddocks, Formula One paddocks, touring car championship paddocks, football teams where everyone's in sort of a suit and a uniform and looking like it needs to look like it's the top flight of speedway, and it doesn't when there's girlfriends knocking around with a bit of a coke and a fang in one hand. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't look right. It needs to look professional, and I think he's with what he said so far, he's got some great points. So I'm going to keep a close eye on him. And see what he is, see what he's about. I certainly think he's got some good ideas, or reading in the Star that he has some good ideas. And I think it'd be interesting to see if they do unfold, or whether he's just another person with another title.
Yeah, I must admit it was pointed out that when it comes to Phil Morris, there were a few of us. We've got far too many grey hairs. We remember Phil the rider, which is maybe a bit, as you say, if he comes in and does a good job and changes things, then that'll be good for Speedway certainly. I wanted to then, so as you were saying about Robert Lambert not coming back, so of the sort of the top British rider at the moment. He debuted as number one, or is Ty still there?
No, Ty's not riding. Is he? Who do you think? What is our British number one right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Dan beat Ty, didn't he? In the GP standings.
So Ty's not riding this year, not even.
He's riding abroad. He's just not riding Sweden. Here, is he?
Sorry, yes, yeah. I meant like who are the top I'm going to cut to the one they've always liked.
Sorry, mate, you're breaking up here.
Yeah, it's bad reception. It goes like that every now and again. A little warning of my. Yeah, I'm not. What? I'm getting stupid. Sorry about that.
You all right?
Is that any better?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep. All right, just come on a lot stronger. Yeah. Sorry. What I was saying was that of the of the sort of top Brits, who are the top Brits? Is it sort of Ty and then Dan Bewley or
Yeah, well,
Dan
it's
Bewley,
Ty,
Ty,
is it
Robert
Ty,
Lambert?
Dan, or
But
Dan at the moment, Ty. And then who would
Robert
who
Bewley, Robert Lambert.
Robert Lambert, yeah. Um,
Yep.
I think it gets it's quite hard then.
And
Who would be the next one?
well, I was saying that one of my one that I always like is Adam Ellis.
Yeah, Adam's done very well. He was under he had a well,
Yeah.
I assume he had I think he was carrying an injury last year.
Yeah.
And I think people need to realise when you're carrying an injury, it does affect you a lot, and especially you're talking split seconds on a speedway bike,
Yeah.
and it's the difference between winning and second or third.
Yep. And where do we put Bomber in that list?
Top of the box office.
Yeah.
He's still got it. He's still got it.
Yeah.
I still watch him, and I'm impressed every time. Every time he rides, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to take I won't like to ride. He just scares me when he rides. He just looks like he's hanging on. Do you know what I mean? For dear life, and that's why you just sort of like that. But he must know what he's doing because he doesn't crash so often. He's got his own little style, very grass tracky, and yeah.
Yeah. So who of the sort of younger generation are the ones that impressed you? Obviously,
Tom
you've
Brennan,
alluded to. Yeah.
he's coming up through the ranks. They're doing well. Thompson twins, they're also starting to come up. Dan Gilt as well. Obviously, he's hopefully this time he'll get a full season and we can have a good crack at it. Leon Flint again, under 19 champion, under 21 champion. They won the double. So he hasn't won both of them by fluke. He's won it because he's the best. They've been at two separate tracks as well.
Sure.
And he's another one that's just slowly chipping away. If he keeps his head screwed on and carries on the way he's going, he'll do well.
I must admit, I'm also a bit of a Jordan Jenkins fan. He came and guested for Berwick, and I thought he was the best guest we had that last year. But statistically, I think Richard Lawson just pipped him. He was guesting for Bomber. But I like Jordan. But you've got so many youngsters at Bellevue. Who's going to be at the end of the season? Who's going to be the number one at the Colts?
At the Colts?
At the Colts, say.
James Pearson, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, he's Aussie, so
just because he's riding more as well.
Sure.
I think like Jack will give him a good run for his money, especially at home because it's just his back garden. But because James is doing championship, he's riding twice as much as Jack,
right?
And that shows a lot. And I think it'd be nice if Jack can get. It's a shame with Jack, really. You know what I mean? He's again. It goes back to my chart. He's top of the National League, but struggling in the championship. And I don't know what goes wrong with him because he's a good rider. Whether it's just fear or nerves or whatever that just puts him off a little bit, I don't know. But he could. He was with the Aces in the Premiership at the Rising Star and scored points. So I just don't know what it is. But I hope
But Speedway, I've always maintained this opinion that it's very fickle because every race you go out in, you've got a 25% chance of finishing first, and a 25% chance of finishing last.
Yeah, but you
It's,
make
you
your
know,
own luck as well a little bit, don't you?
of course you do, but it's harsh, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, oh, it
it's
is
tough in
harsh,
that
and
respect.
it's harsh. Like I said, a millisecond letting the clutch lever go wrong, a first bend bunching, a cut off. That's it. She race over. There's no time to
Yeah,
claw it back. That's it. That's your chance gone, and then
yeah,
you're in for the next heat. Do you know what I mean? And bike issues, wrong setups.
yeah. And I suppose I'm looking at it from a statistical point of view. Averages, are they as true today as they were, say, I remember back in the early 2000s, for example. I remember in the what you would call the championship. I think back then it was the British League or the National League. I remember when we had 19 clubs in
Mm.
in the second tier. And for me, then the average that riders got was a truer average.
It's
But
hard to
but now
say,
you're
really.
basing it on not very many
Yeah,
meetings, because I mean,
yeah,
you
not
know,
very many meetings. Again, like average is like the National League, which is what they've struggled in this year. It's it was a little bit diluted last year, so people have got overinflated averages. Maybe that's what people are saying. Whether it's just another year, different day, I don't know. You'd need some mathematical genius to sort of answer that question for you.
well, I am going to work on that one because my brother-in-law is a maths professor, and I am going to challenge him on that
Yeah,
one
I
because
would challenge him and just show it year
yeah,
by year, and base it off someone that's maybe um, consistently getting consistent second rather than firsts and winning. Maybe get someone that's consistently second or third, um, and you would see if there's someone that comes second or third, but they've got a higher average or a lower average. I think it would show more.
it's just that at the moment to win a speedway meeting you need 46 points, and no team is set up to 46 points, are they? Even to 45 to get a draw.
Yeah, yeah, no, yes,
So, so, so,
yes,
every,
yeah,
every year we start off with riders whose average is whatever, 40, 41, whatever. And by the end of the season, they're going to have to up their average because they're going to have so many wins.
yeah,
And it just,
yeah. There's always
I
going to be
can't help thinking
increasing
that
knowledge and statistics.
there's something strange there. It's like an inflation of the averages, isn't it? Because of the fact that there's points available to win.
The thing that I don't get, to be fair, and I heard someone say this, like the Premiership. Why have you got an average in the Premiership?
Yeah.
It should be the top riders. No expense.
Oh, that's a real bugbear of mine. Is the fact that the Premiership is supposed to be 1.5 times the Championship, isn't it?
Yeah,
And yet when you look at statistically at the figures, there's often less than a point between their Championship and Premiership average.
yeah. Some have got a better average in the Premiership than they have in the Championship. I find that even more bizarre.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
So,
Paul, I'm
right.
not going to keep you any longer. That's the wife back, and
Yeah,
we're going to watch The Apprentice. Do you ever watch The Apprentice? I would
yeah,
imagine
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
like you'd be
yeah.
quite keen. I was really disappointed that Simba went last
Yeah,
week.
no, I've not watched that one, but I do need to catch up on it.
Oh, right, yeah. No, I think it's all girls left in it now. It's
Yeah.
terrible situation. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding, ladies.
Don't worry,
Paul, it's
there's no
been
ladies
absolutely.
watching this.
Oh, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Give
I
us a
get
shout, ladies. Give us a shout if you've got this far.
I get regularly shouted at or called out if I'm round the Asdas, and Linda says, "Hey, hi, Paul. When's your next live chat?"
Yeah.
So
Well, hi
yeah,
to Linda if you're listening.
yeah.
So,
Well, it's
all
been
right,
great having
Paul.
you on again, and
Yeah.
hopefully I mean, look, I'm long in the tooth. Obviously, plenty of grey hairs, but I mean, I can definitely see the advantage of the electric bikes, and I hope it. Well, I don't think it's a case of hope that it's going to do well. I know it is going to do well because as soon as people realise, honestly, this is far better. It's far better for for the people that, the kids coming up.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
it's going to make sense.
There's a lot of positives to it, and I think if
Yeah.
people realise that I'm not here to save the world or get rid of 500s, I'm here
No.
to grow it from the bottom up. So the
Yeah.
bigger the grass, the bigger the tree.
Yeah.
And that's it. So, right, Paul, lovely speaking to you.
And
And
you,
I'll,
and if I don't see you before, we'll see you when the Colts come
yes,
to Berwick,
you will indeed.
and I might
See
even
you.
buy you a drink in the black and gold.
Brilliant.
Catch you
All right,
later.
Paul. Catch you later.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye bye.